What is up, you guys? In this video, we are going to go over some of the biases that Robert Greene talks about in his book, The Law of Human Nature, and how I believe these biases correlate extremely well with traders and investors. We're going to go over what these are, what problems that they, give to investors and traders, and what we can do to get over these and to become the best traders and investors that we can possibly be. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. Now, before we get started, if you could hit that like button, comment down below if you are a Robert Greene fan, what your favorite book of his is, and also share this video with anybody who needs it. It really helps the algorithm and it helps this channel grow. So the book that we're going to be going off of today is called The Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene. Many of his books can actually pertain to the psychology of trading because, in short, what will make you a better human is what is going to make you a better trader. I have been trading in the markets for the past 6 years. I've seen a lot of people from different walks of life come into the market. I've seen a lot of them succeed, and I've seen way more of them fail. So if you are an irrational, greedy, selfish, out of control human being, then you're going to be the same when you're trading. However, if you're calculated, calm, rational, and self-aware, you're going to be profitable for years to come. It's just that simple. There's not a lot of people who are very greedy, irrational, and out of control that become profitable traders. I was one of those people. I still, have my problems with that, but I had to look deep into myself and my psychology, and using some of these tips I'm going to give you today helped me change not only the investor that I am, but the person that I am. And so this video is not just for traders. This video is not just for investors. The psychology really goes across both spectrums and can be used in conjunction just to become the best investor and trader that you can be. So let's get started. And like I said, this video is designed around identifying and working against the biases in our life that weigh us down. I've taken the chapter on biases that Robert has in his book, and I've taken my 6 years of expertise in the markets, and I've created what I believe are the biases in the market that we have to learn from. So let's get started. The first one is going to be the confirmation bias. So confirmation bias is finding supporting evidence to show that you are right about an investment or a trade simply because it helps you avoid pain. Talk a lot about this with my students, but two things that ruin us as investors and traders are greed and fear, because both of those lead to pain. And as human beings, we don't like pain. As investors and traders, we don't like pain. And fear is the stronger of the two. If you look at the stock market in just the past, 6 weeks, we see a ton of fear and a ton of greed all across the board. As investors and traders, we hold on to an idea or a trade that is pleasing to us. But sometimes deep inside, we might have some doubts as to if it's true and if we're right. So we sometimes go the extra mile to convince ourselves or anybody else, who challenges our ideas, or anybody else that we're trying to convince to get into a trade with us, because it makes us feel better. We've all had, these types of investments. We've all had these types of trades, particularly from an investing standpoint. I've had a couple of investments. I remember I was in SQ. I bought very, very high for Square. I really like them fundamentally. This is back before the huge drop in December of 2018. And I had extreme confirmation bias. I could find every supporting, technical. I could find every supporting, article that I could find, anything. I never looked at the bad. I only looked at the good. And this was just because I was afraid. I had way more money in this position than I had ever had before. And it was a losing position. Now, if I had held, I probably would have been about even. No, actually, now I still probably would have been about down. But if I would have held, it probably would have been a little better. But I cut my losses, which was smart on my end. But, I have felt this before. I've felt this before with trades, even from a technical analysis standpoint. I remember the day I lost, I talk about it all the time, $10,000 in a single day trading SQQQ and TVIX, 3 years ago. It was bad. Like it was really bad. And I remember I put all my money into this, and it was a day trade, and I only focused on, there would be 3 or 4 little red ticks because it was downtrending and I was trying to trade against it. And I would only focus on the little green ticks. I would focus on every once in a while, the RSI would point up. I did not look at it objectively or subjectively. I just looked at it. I only paid attention to what was good. So in order to get around this, you have to look at your trades and you have to look at your investments with a clear mind and with clear eyes, because as an investor, you have to look at both sides of the coin. And I put here, for instance, CCL. CCL is a very big position of mine right now. And it's in the eye of the storm when it comes to COVID-19 and, everything that's going on. So, me as an investor, I can't just look at it and say, oh, the potential returns, when it goes back up to $50, I'll make X amount of money. The returns will be great. I have to look at it, with a clear eyes, with a clear mind. And I have to be able to say to myself, like, oh, this company could go bankrupt. It's probably, 10, 20% chance, but I really could lose all my money. And you have to look at the supporting evidence on both sides. You can't just be, all on one side just to not feel pain, because you're going to feel pain in the markets. The market doesn't care about you. It doesn't care about where your money came from. It doesn't care about me. It is going to humble you if you don't, mentally get around some of these biases. The next one, this is the group bias. So the group bias is, hey, let's all take a position together. Let's push our views on to other people. And this is going to be great. I put SPCE here, or Virgin Galactic, for a reason, and I'll talk about that. So groups tend to do this because, it's we're all in it together, but in reality, we just don't want to be the only losers. A lot of the times, we find supporting ways to drag down everybody with us. I'm sure you've heard the crabs in the pot analogy, but there's a lot of times, especially if you go into these, Facebook groups, I'm not going to mention specific ones, where they're all like, oh, let's get in plug power, buy plug. You're an idiot if you don't get it. You're going to miss out. Or, another one was SPCE. Another one was Tesla when it was up near $1,000. The list goes on and on and on. And a lot of the times, people are posting these things and, trying to push their views onto other people, not because they actually want other people to make money. Not a lot of people are actually that, generous and that selfless to help other people, especially in this community, unfortunately. But, most of the time it's just because they're afraid of losing money and they don't want to look like the only fool. It's hard to be like an outlier and to have your own views that's against the curve, and that's, because it's very easy for a group of people to point the finger at one person and be like, he's an idiot, but it's very hard for a group of people to point the finger at themselves and be like, we're all idiots together, so we do not, as humans and as traders, like a mix of losers and winners, because you have to realize at the end of every trade or investment, there's somebody buying that from you. There's somebody on the other side of that trade or that investment buying it when it's extremely high. So there's always going to be winners and losers. And we don't like that because we resent the winners, unfortunately, a lot of the times, especially when we're on the losing side. So always respect the opinion of the people in your field and your colleagues, but always do your own due diligence and trade for yourself. The next bias, I put myself here, and I will talk about this in a minute, is the blame bias. So the blame bias is we blame other people for losses in our life, so we don't look like fools. And I put this here because as I have not been here, probably as this has not happened, hopefully, to a lot of you, especially in my academy, I'm sure there will be a day that somebody blames me for a bad trade. When you put yourself in the public and you put yourself as a leadership position, there's eventually going to be a time where someone's like, I shouldn't have listened to Pete. So we try to blame other things and other people for our poor actions. So, I should have never listened to blank. Should have never listened to Pete. I should have never listened to Zip Trader or Ricky Gutierrez. I should have never listened to them. They're idiots. The market is so manipulated. I can't believe it. It's not my fault. The market's manipulated. It's not my fault that blank happened. It's not my fault Trump's an idiot and he tweeted this out, or it's not my fault that tariffs happened or that the coronavirus happened. Who would have saw that happen? That's not my fault. We never want to look at ourselves and why we failed, for that would be too painful for our fragile egos. And I really agree with that. So I talk a lot about keeping a trading log, and not only for your actual positions, for you to write down, where did you enter, where did you exit, how many shares you owned, but also to write down a huge note section on why you took the position. How did you feel at the time of taking that position? Were you in a rush? Did you have somewhere to go? Did you get in a fight with your girlfriend or your wife or your husband? Or, were your kids crying and screaming in your face? Or did you just get off a string of 10 losses in a row? Like, how were you feeling? And that's extremely important, guys. So a direct quote from the book that Robert uses, this is exactly from the book. The reason for this bias is that it is often too painful to look at our mistakes. It calls into question our feelings of superiority. It pokes at our ego. We go through the motions pretending to reflect on what we did. But with the passage of time, the pleasure of principle rises, and we forget the small part in the mistake we ascribe to ourselves. Desire and emotion will blind us yet again, and we will repeat the same mistake and go through the same mild, recriminating process, followed by our forgetfulness until we die. It's kind of depressing, but if people truly learn from their experience, we would find few mistakes in the world, and our career paths, and in this case, our yield curve of our portfolio, would ascend ever upward. So, it's depressing, but it's true. Like, how many people, if people really learned from their mistakes, we would never repeat those. And I think the biggest thing that stands out to me is, we go through the motions of pretending to reflect. We all pretend. We all are just like, yeah, that was a bad idea. I shouldn't have done that. I'm not going to do that again. But with the passage of time, because time heals everything and time makes us forget, and the pleasure of principle rises, maybe there's, this time's different. I have to get into this trade. I have to get in this investment, because if I don't, if only I had more money, if I only had this, if I only made X amount of returns, everything would be different. We forget the small part in the mistake that we ascribed to ourselves. So, in my opinion, what is the solution? That's the biggest question. How do we change these things? If this is how we feel, if these are our biases, if we can't learn, if we can't truly ever just do something once and learn from it, what's the solution? So do we change? I don't believe so. I think people change, but do we actually fully learn? Can you just make one mistake and never do it again? Specifically in trading, no, because it's easy to say that we're not going to do these things. And the truth is, we'd just be lying, because even after 6 years of myself and countless losses, blowing up accounts and making huge mistakes, I still make mistakes from time to time. Obviously not as much, because I wouldn't be a profitable trader. I wouldn't be consistent. I wouldn't have an academy, all of that, but I still make mistakes. That's why keeping a trading, not only, like a notes and a log, but a journal. Keep a journal next to your desk. Even if you're an investor and not a trader, journal. Like, why did I say you hopped into Carnival Cruise Line back at $35 a share? Why? Write down, like, did I actually want to do that, or was I pressured by a community, by a Discord chat, by somebody on YouTube? Did I actually understand the business? Did I actually understand economics? Was I listening to, like, the leading, what are they called, viral infectious disease doctors out there? Like, why did I take that position? Or did I just take the position because I got sucked into the group bias of, let's just all do this together and we'll make money quickly? So keep a trading journal and read it daily. Go over your losses, when you're on a winning streak, even if you're on a 5, 6, 7, 8 day or week or month winning streak, go over your losses. It sucks, but relive it. You have to look at yourself. Like, I know people who try to not remind themselves of their issues. I know people who are in severe financial debt and they don't even look at, what's going on. They don't even know what's in their bank account. They don't know their financial loans to the T. They don't know what their interest rate is. They don't want to look at it because it makes, it's easier just to not be wrong and not feel trapped. But you can't live your life that way. So something else you can do is keep your worst account balance statement next to your trading desk. Remind yourself, like, this is what my mistakes get me. And you're never going to be perfect. But finally, don't just use this for investing. All of this information, who you are as a person will show you how you are as a trader. Use all of this in your life and try to find the biases that you have outside of the stock market and outside of investing and correct them. Try to find out what your confirmation biases are in other aspects of your life. Where do you find your group bias with other people in your life? The blame bias. Are you blaming things in your life outside of the stock market? I can't lose weight because X. I can't make money or do better in my job because my boss is an a-hole. Like, where do you find those blame biases? Because it's only through, realizing it, looking inward and staying on top of it that you can become a better human being, become a better trader, become a better investor, and live the life that you want to live. So that's it for today, guys. Make sure you hit like, comment down below, subscribe to this channel. It really helps the algorithm. If you want to have full access to, I do tons of longer winded versions of these courses on market psychology, technical analysis, my step-by-step, strategies, what I use for trading and what I use for investing. There's going to be a code down at the bottom in the description. They will give you 1 free month to the Capitalist Academy. That is my private stock market mentorship group where we get access to all the courses, but you also get access to our private Discord where me and 100 traders go live every single morning. I stream, I go over what I'm looking at, what I'm investing in. I look at what other people, are potentially investing in, and I give my opinions on it. I'll never tell somebody what exactly to trade, but it's a great group. It's a great place to, really be a part of if you're starting or if you're an investor like I was, where I just couldn't stay profitable. I knew what I was doing. I just couldn't stay profitable though. So I'm going to thank you guys for watching. Until next time, I'll see you.